أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الصلاة والسلام على رسولنا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه وأتباعه وسلم. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. So, inshallah, today we will continue with Musa alayhi salam's story. Last time it was a fight that Musa alayhi salam found himself in, and we will continue from there. And it's going to be like the theme is going to be in the school of a prophet teacher, because Musa alayhi salam is going to get into the school of Shu'aib alayhi salam, as we will see, inshallah. So let's remember what we did last time. So last week's discussion started, this was from Surah Al-Qasas, verse number 14. ولما بلغ أشده واستوى آتيناه حكما وعلما وكذلك نجزي المحسنين. When he reached full age and was firmly established, he bestowed on him wisdom and knowledge, for thus do we reward those who do good. This is how the rest of the story was being framed. And in the remaining part of the verses up until 21, what happened was he entered the city, there was a fight, and he sided with one from his own kin. And then the guy turned out to be a troublemaker. And Musa alayhi salam unintentionally killed a person, and then he was being sought for within the city. And then this is where we come to verse number 21. Somebody came from the high part of the city, probably somebody that is like some government official or something, saying that they're going to kill you, go away. And then we jump to verse number 21, which now says, فَخَرَجَ مِنْهَا خَائِفًا يَتَرَقَّبُ. He therefore got away therefrom, looking about in a state of fear. قَالَ رَبِّ نَجِّنِي مِنَ الْقَوْمِ الظَّالِمِينَ. He said, my Lord, deliver me from the wrongdoing folk. And in between everything that happened, we were taking it as an interpretation of hukman wa ilma, like how he is given wisdom and knowledge, like the event that he lived, siding with a wrongdoer, unintentionally killing a person, like everything that was happening was how he was being taught wisdom and knowledge. This is how we took it. But as we will move forward, this is not where his training ended. Still, as he moves through in life, and for the rest of the story, we can take this receiving of wisdom and knowledge as going on. Like his life journey, which is going to be mentioned for quite some number of verses here, is going to be how he was given wisdom and knowledge. So at this point, verse number 21, he is now saying, he is realizing his need for protection, and he is asking it from his Lord. Rabbi, my Lord, najini, like save me from min al-qawmi al-zalimin, this folk, wrongdoing folk. And let's start today's discussion from here. وَلَمَّا تَوَجَّهَ تِلْقَاءَ مَدْيَنَ. And when he turned his face towards Madian, this is a city, قَالَ عَسَى رَبِّي أَن يَهْدِيَنِي سَوَاءَ السَّبِيلِ. It may well be that my sustainer, my Lord, will guide me onto the right path. So before we go any further, what can we take out of this situation? Like he was forced to leave where he used to live, and he was living there comfortably because he was in the palace. But the Creator created such a circumstances that almost overnight, everything turned upside down for him. Like it might be that, because sometimes people read into the story and say that Musa alayhi salam, although he was in the palace with his skin color and whatnot, he was definitely not a Egyptian. It was known. And then those who read into the story historically, they say there were a lot of people within the palace who was plotting against him anyways. Like they were looking for an opportunity to just find an occasion to get rid of him. And this was the golden opportunity. He killed someone intentionally, unintentionally, who cares? Opportunity is there. But then they aim to get rid of him. One way or another, everything turned upside down for him overnight. This is what's happening. And then he left the city. He finds himself in this fearful, fearful situation. And then overnight, he is leaving with this point, which is ولما توجه تلقاء المدينة قال عسى ربي أن يهديني سواء السبيل. It may well be that my sustainer will guide me onto the right path. So when I read this reminds me that I can find myself in such a situation. Life can turn upside down overnight. And I might need to leave what I considered to be a secure place. But as I am turning my face towards the unknown in this case, because it's just going to a total unknown, he is seeking help from not his bank account, not his family, no nothing, but he is seeking this help from his sustainer or a right path. I think this is a important mindset to be read in here, especially given that nowadays world is turning upside down. And I guess at the global level, we don't know what's going to happen within the next 2 or 3 years, and it looks like the global equilibrium is very likely to change very soon, and we can find ourselves right in the middle of it. So how do we consider this is one question. But apart from that, in our personal lives, how are the things going? Especially with, I do see people like having, if we are to apply this to ourselves, in our personal lives, maybe there is a protector behind our back. It could be our degree. It could be our family, something that I rely on, something that I feel secure in. Then something intentionally or unintentionally happens. Like, for example, for those who had a CS degree, within 2 or 3 years, like a major which would make you get paid, which would make you get paid 150 plus, 150K plus, now people are being laid off. So everything is upside down for people. And then we thought, this is a good major to major in, it makes you earn well. Or it might be something else. You feel like no matter what, your parents are behind you, but some choice in life that you do, your parents can become against you, your siblings can become against you, many things can happen as such. Whatever you think you rely on, everything can become upside down. So in such a moment of fear and uncertainty, Musa alayhi salam is facing towards Madian, and he is asking for guidance from his Lord, his sustainer. So we continue from Musa alayhi salam's story. So, and the major part is going to start from here, and I will be asking for your help. So, ولما ورد ماء مدين. When he arrived at the wells of Madian, so Musa alayhi salam went towards Madian. He comes to Madian where the water is there. Madian is like the water of Madian. وجد عليه أمة من الناس. He found there a large group of men, يسقون, who were watering, like they were watering their animals. وَوَجَدَ مِن دُونِهِمْ امْرَأَتَيْنِ تَذُودَانِ. And at some distance from them, he came upon two women who were keeping back their flock. قَالَ مَا خَطْبُكُمَا. He said, what's the matter with you? قَالَتَا لَا نَسْقِي حَتَّى يُسْدِرَ الرِّعَاء. They answered, we cannot water our animals until the herdsmen drive theirs home. Like up until they water their animals and leave, we cannot go and water our animals. وَأَبُونَا شَيْخٌ كَبِيرٌ. And our father is a very old man. So, very interesting of a picture now Quran is mentioning. Quran shouldn't mention anything that's unnecessary. Whatever it mentions is important. Whatever it leaves out is unimportant. So he moves into Midian, comes to the water, and then he sees this scene, a lot of people watering the animals, two girls at distance waiting, and he goes to them and he says, what's up with you two? And then they say, we cannot water up until they go. And our father is Shaykhun Kabir. In many translations, this is translated as our father is a very old man. In one translation and another commentary, what I saw was Shaykhun Kabir in here is, as we use the word sheikh nowadays, like he is a old, like he's a big sheikh, like he is a knowledgeable man. He is some man of stature, let's say, in knowledge. This is what they brought up. Very interesting. And then Musa alayhi salam, فَسَقَى لَهُمَا ثُمَّ تَوَلَّى إِلَى الظِّلِّ فَقَالَ رَبِّ إِنِّي لِمَا أَنزَلْتَ إِلَيَّ مِنْ خَيْرٍ فَقِيرٌ. So he watered their animals for them. And when he withdrew into the shade and prayed, O my sustainer, indeed, in dire need I am of any good which you may bestow upon me. So he does his job. And then he withdraws to shade, and still he is with his Lord. Oh my creator, oh my Lord, I am in need of whatever you can give me. This is what he says. So in the follow-up part of the story, there's going to be more in terms of the interaction between Musa alayhi salam and these ladies. But what can we get from here? Because eventually Musa alayhi salam will get married with one of them. And today I would like to first and foremost read this story as what we can learn from Musa alayhi salam's story in terms of this is going to be the journey of how he is given wisdom and knowledge. And what does it mean for us to be given wisdom and knowledge in this story? And in our personal lives, what shall we take out of this? Because the part that I would like to tie it to, Assalamu alaikum. So the part that I would like to tie it to would be, as Musa alayhi salam is going to get into a marriage, it's going to be a part of him receiving wisdom and knowledge. Like this is going to be a big part of how he receives wisdom and knowledge. And what can we say about how he goes from this fearful man into becoming like forming a family and whatnot? There's wisdom, there's knowledge. What are the wisdom and knowledge that we can get from here? So if you have any idea, please chime in. Otherwise, I will continue. So in the picture, what I am seeing here is he comes to the environment. He sees that people are watering their animals, and then these two girls are on the side. There's something weird going on. He goes and asks the two girls, but even the language in here is just very straightforward. It says, what's wrong with you two? Why don't you do the same? Then their response is, we cannot water them before they leave. And our father is very old. What can we take out of this? Like, what type of girls are these two girls? And what can we learn about how they respond to Musa alayhi salam here? In terms of relationship, the dynamics of them having a conversation with a stranger at this point. Musa alayhi salam is also a stranger to them, but he reaches out to them. What's going on? And what I would like to see in this story, especially for people who are going to form their family life eventually, and how could this family life become a source of wisdom and knowledge for them? Because Musa alayhi salam, by way of this education, going to receive knowledge and wisdom. If a person expects to receive wisdom and knowledge in their family life, what should they be looking for? If a person is looking for, I don't know, just adventure in their family life, what should they look for? This is a way really we should ask, why am I going to get married? What is going to be this family life's role in my life? So what I'm saying, since I guess questions are too vague, I'll keep talking. First of all, Musa alayhi salam is reading the scene, seeing something awkward. When he goes them to these two girls, he is not indifferent. He is seeing a problem and he wants to solve it. But once he go there, he's just not there to, like, he's not looking for, how to say, hunting girls. This is not the point. He is there to solve some problem. This is why the language in here is very direct. What's wrong with you two? And then their response is showing something about the quality of these girls. Like they're saying, we stay away because we cannot get or mingle with them. We are waiting for them to leave. Then we will go and water our animals. Like this shows a quality of these girls. But they don't want to mingle with the people because, since it's mentioning that they are ummatan min an-nas, they are just a crowded people there. These two people don't want to mingle with them for privacy or chastity reasons is what I'm taking out of here. But at the end, adding this Buna Sheikh Kabir part is sort of a threat to Musa alayhi salam. Like, don't take us lightly. Our dad is a learned man of like knowledge and authority. Don't mess up with us. Don't think that, oh, since these two are girls there and they are scared already of others, I can take advantage of them. So they are, in a sense, kind of dignified girls. So in such a scene, Musa alayhi salam, for them, yes.
Just have a quick clarification about because like for me when I read it, I thought that they're saying it as like we can't go because our dad is very old and he can't accompany us. That's why we're staying in the back and we're just not going there. But it doesn't mean like it's more about the with like, oh, you can't just use us or anything like that.
Yeah. So in some translations, yes, they said this word as a not and, but because. They said, we are weak and our father is also old. This is why we are staying away from there. This is how they take it. Some translations were like that. But Shaykhun Kabir, if it is taken as like not very old and weak man, but a man of knowledge, like Shaykh as in the case of a learned person, and Kabir in this case is not being like in the later ages, but more so that he is a very knowledgeable person, then why did they bring this up is becoming the question. Why do they bring up the point of our father is so learned of a man. Like, what do they imply by this? The implication is more so in this case, if it's taken as the second, it is being taken as they are saying, we stay away from there, but it's not because we are something that could be exploited, like don't take it lightly. We are coming from a family of knowledge. Then Musa alayhi salam, so he waters for them their animals. But after this, he doesn't linger with them. This is also interesting. He doesn't stay with them and say, "Oh, tell me about your dad and where are you from? How is Median? I am new here." Like he doesn't get into a chit chat. But tawalla ila al-ghayb, he just withdraws to a shade. And in there, he is back with his Lord. This is an important part. He's not trying to make a network. He's not trying to learn, but he's going back to be together with his Lord. فقال رب إني لما أنزلت إلي من خير فقير. Oh, my sustainer, I am in need of any good, whatever you can do. But that's also an important part. He withdraws to be together with his Creator in such a situation. Because what happens in such cases is, especially like if you're in a hard situation, let's say you are coming from a third, fourth world country to a country of opportunities. What do you look for? Like your eyes are just like radar, looking for any opportunity. You know how people are in LinkedIn? Like they try to make any posts to attract somebody's attention so that I can climb the ladders. Like I am with people, I'm not with my Lord at this point. All my focus is to just look for any small cracked door so that I can get in. But this doesn't seem to be Musa alayhi salam's position here. It is withdrawing to a shade and having a conversation with his Creator. This is how that scene ends. Anything you would like to add? Shall we move forward? So, فَجَاءَتْ إِحْدَاهُمَا تَمْشِي عَلَى اسْتِحْيَاءٍ. Afterwards, one of the two girls approached him, walking in haya, shyly. She said, قالت إن أبي يدعوك ليجزيك أجر ما سقيت لنا. Like it looks like they took their animals, went back to their dad, and now coming back. Indeed, my father invites you so that he might reward you for you having watered our animals. فلما جاءه وقص عليه القصص قال لا تخف نجوت من القوم الظالمين. And as soon as he came unto him, like Musa alayhi salam comes to Shu'aib in this case, and told him the story, he said, have no fear, you are now safe from those evil-doing folk. But this is now where Musa alayhi salam is going to start having a teacher, because Shu'aib alayhi salam is mentioned as a person who is good with speech. And this is how Quran is introducing a new actor into this story, into this movie. But another interesting part here, like two dynamics are happening in this, at least two that I can see. Girls, like let's fill in the blanks. Girls go back, and then probably their dad asked them, why are you guys early today? Because they were supposed to wait and then water the animals, but they're coming early. Then they must have reported that there was this gentleman who did the job for us, and then he withdrew to the shade. And then the father is saying, okay, go back and call him to me so that I can reward him. So this is what's happening. So the dad is also realizing something with this guy specifically. It could have been that he could just say, whatever, okay. I mean, once, like if some random stranger does something good to you, what do? I mean, the guy just walks away. You don't just run after the guy and chase him and say, oh, thank you and whatnot. You say, okay, oh, may God be happy with him. May God bless him and whatnot. And you continue with your way. It looks like Shu'aib alayhi salam also senses something about this guy. And he wants to give him a reward, ajr. And then when he comes, Musa alayhi salam tells him the story, which is interesting because you're a murderer and being sought after as a murderer in your country. And now you are meeting this stranger and you are telling the stranger about your story. But then Shu'aib alayhi salam is saying, you are saved from this evil doing folk. But Quran gives us another interesting detail here about the haya of the girl here, saying that this girl was shy, coming in shyness. Why is that detail being given to us? Again, we can ask that question. Why does Quran instruct me with this detail of the story? Because in the following part of the story, this shy girl is going to say a word. She would say, قالت إحداهما يا أبت استأجر. Said one of the two girls, oh my father, hire him. Like he called them for giving him a reward, ujra. But the girl is suggesting one step further, saying that استأجره, like hire him, not just reward him for what he did, but hire him. Inna khayra man ista'jarta al-qawiyyu al-amin. Or indeed, the best that you could hire is one who is strong and worthy of trust. So again, Quran gives us two more qualifiers. Where the girl said she has haya, she is shy. Where she has, is there another word for haya? Anything better than shy? Like it's.
But I think we could better describe it than shy.
It's better than shyness, but she wouldn't like exposing yourself is the opposite of having haya. Haya is someone who is I don't know, exposing not only like physically, but in terms of personality, someone having more restraint about what they talk, what they laugh at, what they cry at, and whatnot. Like this sort of a personality trait was mentioned as haya. Anything you would like to add, Haya?
Yes, I feel like it's more reserved. Like you're not like outgoing, like not outgoing, but I don't know how to describe it. Yeah, more
Preserved or reserved. So you're more protective of your dignity in many ways. And then when it comes to the man, in this case, Musa alayhi salam, the description is al-qawi al-amin. He is strong and trustworthy. These are the two traits that this girl observed on Musa alayhi salam. So how long could this have taken? Like this thingy. She is meeting him for the second time. The first time she saw him was by the water, by the well. And now he comes to their home, sees him for a second time. And the girl decided that this guy is trustworthy to be hired, right? Seeing two times apparently is enough to arrive to a certain conclusion. You don't have to be dating for multiple years. A few days ago, yesterday, I was talking to an American friend, and he gave me the glad tidings that he is getting engaged with his girlfriend, and now and they're planning to get married in 2027. So it looks like it took quite some time for people to get to know each other, or so they think. But here, in that sort of a time span, if you know what you're looking for, you can get a proper idea. But then comes father's insight, which is very interesting. This is what the girl said to the father. And now father says to Musa alayhi salam, قال إني أريد أن أنكحك إحدى ابنتي هاتين. Father says, behold, indeed, I am willing to let you get married with one of these two daughters of mine. Like that's a jump, quite a bit of a jump. He was willing to reward him. Then the girl comes and says, oh, dad, hire him. And dad understands what the girl means and says, if you work for me, you can get married with one of these two girls. But he puts a condition, and تأجرني ثمانية حجاج. And the understanding and the condition that you will work 8 years for me. فإن أتممت عشرا فمن عندك. If you complete it to 10 years, it's up to you. وما أريد أن أشق عليك. So I do not want to impose you any hardship. ستجدني إن شاء الله من الصالحين. You will find me, if God so wills, righteous in all my dealings. So it's very interesting how Shu'aib alayhi salam is taking the case and what we should learn from that. Let's look into here, because I think this is very important for how we look into family life, how we look into marriage. Bless you. So immediately he says, I offer you nikah, like the wedlock, with one of these girls, but you need to work for me for 8 years. What might be the message here? Especially father-in-law in this case, trying to sort of keep son-in-law near him for 8 to 10 years. What is the goal? Because I guess our families also want us to live with them. They would like somebody to go to and see. So with a limit, though, he says for 8 years, you can extend it to 10 if you like. But I'm not going to cause you trouble.
Maybe he wanted him to learn how they, their way of life.
Their way of life. Okay. The culture.
Yeah.
Okay. Learning the culture. Well, yeah, go ahead.
It's just like, for me, it's still feel impulsive. I don't know
Impulsive, oh.
that like you're gonna offer someone that you just met your daughter. Like, yeah, you're gonna keep him. Like, there's a condition that you're gonna work with me for 8 years, but then you just met this guy. He told you his stories. He might be a liar. He might be not. Like, I don't know. I don't know how to understand it, or like just come to a decision and like giving your daughter away. Basically, it's weird. Like, I'm not gonna lie. So I don't know how to interpret this.
What I think is that the father knows what the girl wants, like expressed. And now the girl, like father said, because he is more like, think about their family, his family and the daughter, right? So I think from his point of view, if you're interested in the man, he has to, be there, learn our, culture or whatever things. And it might take 10, but it is up to him, like if you want to extend more. So it's not bounded anymore, but like to learn, I think like he should be like 8 year. I don't know about the 8 year context, but I'm thinking that's just suggested time that might require to like at least to know the culture.
Okay.
of the family.
Okay. I mean, for the culture part, let's think about it a little more. Because Shu'aib alayhi salam, the other person mentioned in here, is mentioned as Shu'aib alayhi salam, which was also a prophet. And would it be to learn culture? Because generally culture is just so that we get on well with each other, right? Or is it going to be something more? This goes back to what is the purpose of marriage? Because it looks like in Musa alayhi salam's life, specifically his family life is being mentioned. Because eventually he's going to speak up against Pharaoh. This is his training. Like the creator is talking about this phase of his life as his training of receiving knowledge and wisdom. So marriage should be something for, or at least as how the creator shows in Musa alayhi salam's life, this was an important milestone of how he reached wisdom and knowledge. Not how he reached, happiness. I mean, definitely happiness is there, but it looks like in this journey, it's being put as a milestone for him achieving knowledge and wisdom.
Maybe hardship.
Going through hardship. So, but Shu'aib alayhi salam, as a messenger, as a prophet, it must be that he is taking him as a student at this point. He's going to teach him something. Like, for example, if we think about Prophet alayhi salam, he took somebody to his household, right? When right before his prophet even, you know the name? Like Ali radiallahu anhu. Imam Ali lived in Prophet's household when he was a child. And eventually he got married with Prophet's daughter, Fatima. So, and eventually he became like such a knowledgeable person to become the fourth caliph. And many of narrations that we have today, or even the Prophet expressed him as the door to knowledge. So I am the city of knowledge. Ali is the door to that city. So Imam Ali was educated in the household of Prophet ﷺ for knowledge. And their family life became an exemplary family life, so much so that today still we make a supplication for the people of the house, like Ahlul Bayt, Ali Bayt, right? Because they left a legacy of an exemplary family life to us. So the goal should be for us, for example, when we look at the life of like Ahlul Bayt, Imam Ali, Fatima, and their two children, what sort of a life did they live? What sort of kids did they raise? So that still their legacy of protecting the religion and living the religion in their lives have left so much impact on us even today. How am I going to live a family life within my own family? Who shall I look for? Because I ask that question to brothers sometimes, like they are, especially once they come to third year, fourth year of college, like their eyes are turning around like crazy. They're looking for someone. They're attending all MSA events, not because they are so useful for knowledge reasons. They're looking for somebody to get married. It's a legitimate concern. Like I'm not saying that definitely they should at some point. But when I ask them, what are you looking for? They say, well, there's too many options. And to eliminate the options, we start by, do I like the looks? This is being easy to eliminate many, which sounds very innocent, right? They're just trying to shortlist. And then I ask the question, if the ideal candidate who is going to help you in life for wisdom and knowledge, finding your creator, is 15 years older than you, she definitely is not that beautiful at this point, because even if she's the most beautiful person, if you add 15 years on top of your age, probably she's going to be like, imagine if you're 20, 25, she becomes 40. Like among other things, she already lost her beauty at to a certain extent, right? So you already lost the best candidate because you were looking for the wrong thing. So I said, this is actually your number one priority. Although it looks too innocent to shortlist things, actually it shows what is your number one priority, which is beauty. And beauty is the quickest thing that will decay, that will depart. Like as the person ages, their physical beauty doesn't increase, it decreases. So you are making your investment on something that is bound to disappear. Is this a wise choice? This is the case for the boys' side. Because in here, the personality of the girls didn't mention anything in terms of how they look. It was more so in terms of their character. Like there was Hayah, and those girls were helping their parents, like father, and they were like working, but they were serious people. They were not, they said, oh, our father is a sheikh, like old guy, don't mess up with me, type of an attitude. They were staying away from the crowd, like which again shows their character. Based on those, observing this personality, you will decide to what sort of a person that is, and does it really fit the goal of reaching knowledge and wisdom in life? And when it comes to the girl's way of looking at the boy, it's looking for strength and security. Is this person trustworthy? Because if Musa alayhi salam were to come there and didn't, let's say, withdraw to the shade, but says, okay, since I helped these two girls, maybe I can benefit from what I did, and keeps having the conversation, saying, you said your dad is an old man, like a sheikh, like where did he study? Was he an Azhar graduate or what? But you know what? I also speak Arabic. Like he didn't carry on with the conversation trying to sell himself. He just withdrew from there. So this gave, I guess, because this is all we know about the story, so we need to fill in the blanks, that this person is a trustworthy person. Trustworthiness is an important thing. Is this person going to leave me behind at some point if things doesn't go well for whatever reason? Is this person going to abandon me, or is this person trustworthy? This is an important thing, apparently. And is this person qawi? And it's interesting because Musa alayhi salam is being mentioned as strong in this case. What sort of strength was there? Was it just muscular strength? I don't know. What do you think? Would it be just a muscular strength?
He killed someone.
He killed someone.
Nothing, I don't know.
No, it's just so it must be Hercules. If it is being strong, I don't know how. If it is just muscular strength, would it be a reason? Maybe this is why brothers nowadays go to gym with all those pumped up muscles and whatnot, just to impress the girls. So, but Qawi in this case, I don't know. I'm willing not to just take it lightly as a muscular strength, but does this person has a strong personality, strong psychology? Because nowadays, unfortunately, many men demonstrate a very fragile personality. Yeah.
I guess thinking about how he watered their flock, maybe just being able to do that. Like I guess you do require some physical strength for that, but these are, I guess if we're just thinking about the animals, like they're used to the girls maybe, and so this complete stranger guy being able to take them all, bring them to the water, maybe that also showed some type of like other strength.
That's important. Yes.
Yeah, I'm also thinking about the personality thing, because I feel like being a strong person, that you approach them in the first like place. I don't know. I feel like you went up to them, you asked them what's wrong. So this shows like, oh, you're strong, like you don't care about what other people think. You just like approach them because you wanted to help. And then you took their flocks and like watered them. Like for me, I feel like, yeah, he seems like a strong person who has like strong opinions, who can like do whatever he wants, kind of.
And I guess in terms of maybe personality, I don't know if we can add it in here, but what I would consider important, see if it fits here, is this person able to take responsibility? Because nowadays this is a huge problem, right? Especially for, like, I was talking to a sister over the weekend. She has 3 kids, and one of his sons were age 31. And I said, did they get married? She said, no, none of them get married yet. Like the middle child is son and 31, so you can estimate plus minus 3 years. So these are the ages, still didn't get married. But I said, oh, it's getting harder. She said, yes. And we agreed upon one problem. It is lack of taking responsibility because people do not mature. She says, and I agree, people come to age 30s and still being treated like kids. Like she said, he cannot even take care of himself. This is what she said. He cannot cook any food for himself. He cannot iron his own clothes. Like he is such a child in her eyes. And this is a general problem. Like you do not, like no matter if you have strong muscles, but you cannot put your life together. What sort of a person, what sort of a life are you going to take care of once the responsibility of helping a household, establishing a household kicks in? Because in this case, feeding the family, responsibility of children, and on top of this, the emotional complexities come in because now you're not boyfriend, girlfriend. It's more like you are sharing a space with someone and there are going to be conflicts. How do you resolve these conflicts? Like, is there this mature personality? Do you see that in that person? So Al-Qawi Al-Amin is a strong person, but trustworthy person. He doesn't have like too strong opinions to crash anybody else. He's a trustworthy person. I also trust this person that he's going to step back when, like, insaf, meaning he makes it 50-50, puts it from nasf, like gives me my rights, takes his own rights. So he negotiates. It sounded like a box. It's not a child. Okay. And in this case, then, the father's approach to say, and it's also interesting, the approach comes from father. This is also very interesting. In our culture, like father proposing to boy, to the male, saying that, oh, come and get married with my daughter. Like this is a no in Turkish culture, for example. Like that would mean that normally it is responsibility of the boy's side to go and ask for the girl's hand in marriage. If it's the other way around, people will start thinking all sorts of things, right? But father, seeing that the boy is mature and the girl is interested, the father is approaching. This is a very virtuous thing to do. Because, and especially now let's add the prophethood on top of this, because who is a prophet? A prophet is a person who is concerned about delivering the message. Like this person's, like if I was a merchant or if I was a handyman who makes roofs, for example, wherever I go, what will I look at? If you invite me to your house, the first thing I will look at is if your roof is good. Can I fix it and make some money out of it? Like if you go to a neighborhood, this is what you will talk about. A prophet's job, duty is seeing how people are living their lives and lack of message, how does it hurt their lives? Because if you couldn't find your sustainer, your creator, you live a very miserable life. And this is what will hurt a prophet. And now a prophet is seeing this man, like Muhammad SAW saw Imam Ali, saying that this child has a potential. And he was one of the 4 first people who accepted Prophet's message and fought for it throughout his life, from that day up until the last day, right? So it was a very correct choice on the hand of Prophet ﷺ. And marrying his daughter to this man was also a very right choice. So Shuaib alayhi salam does that. So let's question some cultural aspect of doing otherwise. And then this 8-year, 10-year offering him training. This is what that means. But I'm now going to take it back to the culture part of it, because I am hearing that this is a big thing, especially I heard this happening quite a bit in Pakistani families. I don't know if it's the same with Bengalis, like is it an Indian subcontinent thing or is it just specific to Pakistanis? Like they get married and they move into the basement of in-laws, like boys' families. Many of my friends did it as such. So it could have been useful, especially if the marriage was happening early, because they are young people. Let's say they are 15, 16 and whatnot. They need to learn life. They need to learn. It's going to be a school of wisdom and knowledge. But if we are talking about it today, 28, 30, and you're moving into your in-laws' house, let's put a question mark over there for the purpose of it. What are we supposed to learn out of this sort of a togetherness? Let's put a question mark. But let's look at it from a parent's point of view. I have 2 kids as well. So how am I going to, they live with me or with outside of my household? How should my relationship be with them? So since in this case, Shuaib alayhi salam is inviting him to work for him, he's trying to educate this person. So, and receiving a service, paying to this person, like this, I was looking for this word, ajrani, so, or istajarta, like as it passed in here, hiring someone. But the Prophet hiring someone, especially another person like Musa alayhi salam, it doesn't sound like he was looking for just abusing his manpower. And I'm going to give another example to that to explain what I mean by this. We talked about this before. Prophet ﷺ took another person to his household in young age, the Sahaba, Anas, when he was a child. So Anas's mother brought Anas to Prophet ﷺ in the age of a child and said, take him for your service. And Prophet accepted that. Sometimes in history or seerah, they say, oh, he was his servant or slave. And Prophet used to give him jobs such as, oh, go and call such and such, bring this and that, bring water, this type of simple duties. And even sometimes our mothers, like wives of the Prophet ﷺ, would send him to somewhere for some, do they call it legwork or some simple jobs. Anas will go out and start playing and forget. And then Prophet ﷺ will go out and just touch his shoulder, like no shouting, no nothing. He would turn back, seeing Prophet will run to the job. He will remember that he forgot the job. It's sort of a friendly relationship, not like a master-slave relationship. But what was the point? Did Prophet really needed a 6, 8-year-old child's help? Or was it something else? We know that Anas radiallahu anhu became one of the most, like one of the top narrators of Prophet's tradition. One scholar made a very good interpretation of his. He said, back at the time of the Prophet, there was no camera. Anas was Prophet's camera. Like Prophet was, he took Anas as a camera because he even took him to the battles. Like, despite being of a young age, Prophet took him to the battles not to fight, just to observe. So he was a camera. So education, it's all about education. So Shuaib alayhi salam in here is hiring him Hiring is just a pretext, apparently, but the main point is education. So this is how I think, as far as I understand from here, in-laws' relationship with the newlywed couple should also be in this sense, in a sense that these people, marriage is a part of attaining knowledge and wisdom in these people's lives, and knowledge and wisdom meaning getting to know their creator. Our interaction with them should be to facilitate this, not to وَمَا أُرِيدُ أَنْ أَشُقَّ عَلَيْكَ. I'm not going to be a troublemaker for you. I'm trying to make things easier for you, to facilitate this journey for you. Because if we lose sight of this, if, for both girls' side and boys' side, if marriage becomes something to show off, like, oh, my bride is a doctor, or I don't know, my son-in-law is an engineer in such and such place. If it becomes a show of status, which is very visible, especially in the wedding ceremonies, right? Huge wedding ceremonies, a lot of wealth is being thrown out there for what? Or we are sharing our happiness. Is it really? Or is it more so that they will say, like she said, he said, type of, what will they think about our family, how strong of a family we are? Is it the showing off part of it, right? So it is supposed to be, marriage is supposed to be this part of our education in our lives, which is an integral part of achieving wisdom and knowledge. Wisdom and knowledge is for getting to know my creator, my purpose in this life. And my choice of husband and wife should be made accordingly, not for momentary gains of joy, but for who is going to walk this life with me. Because eventually, as now we are coming to the end, Musa alayhi salam's response is, قَالَ ذَلْكَ بَيْنِي وَبَيْنَكَ. This agreement is between you and me. أَيَّامَ الْأَجَلَيْنِ قَضَيْتُ فَلَا عُدْوَانَ عَلَيْهِ. Like whichever of the two terms you suggested, there will be no ill will, no enmity between us. Like if I go with 8 or if I go with 10, don't have bad feelings about it. I will go with one of them. وَاللَّهُ عَلَى مَا نَقُولُ وَكِيلٌ. And Allah is the witness to all that we say. So still a very serious man is what I'm observing in Musa alayhi salam. And this is the interesting part. Quran doesn't mention whether he stayed for 8 years or 10 years. It says, فَلَمَّا قَضَى مُوسَى الْأَجَلَ. And when Musa had fulfilled his term, and then story continues. Very interestingly, Quran leaves it there. Because there's no set rule. It depends on you. It depends on like how long should your, let's say, in-laws or you should have a hand or be the suggestive position to your daughter and son-in-law or whatever, the newly wed couples. It depends on their levels of maturity. You're not going to be, I shouldn't, like for example, for my kids, I shouldn't have an expectation of having a say on their family forever. In here, it was an 8-year or 10-year, and doesn't say which one, because it depends. If I can now reinterpret it and say that, especially nowadays, if two people are getting married at their 25s or 30s, like already personalities are at a more ripe state than it would be in 15, 16, 17, right? And then initially, yeah, they do fight, or sometimes they are overly sharing, or whatever things are happening in their life. Parents come with suggestion to them without making things hard for them, as mentioned in the previous verse. But after a certain point, you realize that they are already reaching an equilibrium. Don't mess up with it any further. It's not going to be that, oh, I am your mother, I am your father, whatever I say. No, they are an independent family. So be aware of that. For their own good, put your help. But after a certain point, step back. Because this is happening a lot. Many of the families are getting ruined just because of the opinion of mothers and fathers on the marriage itself. Let them be after a certain point, right? فلما قضى موسى الأجل وسار بأهله آنس من جانب الطور. And when Moses had fulfilled his term and was wandering with his family, he perceived a fire on the slope of Mount Sinai. So Musa alayhi salam now left. That's interesting. He is now living there with his family. So from here, then, what I'm seeing in terms of the bigger picture of now story, let's step back. Musa alayhi salam left Egypt as this young, strong man in their heart condition and lived in Midian under the teacherhood of Shu'aib alayhi salam for 8 to 10 years and formed a family. And in here, we can also understand, I think, that marriage didn't happen at the end of 8 years. They got married and lived together, because he doesn't say he is wandering in the desert with his wife, but he says with his family. So I guess we can deduce here that family was formed, and now they are moving out of the control zone, let's say, of the father-in-law, and they're seeking something. This is the important part. They are seeking something. And so he sees a fire in this desert. Musa alayhi salam sees a fire. قال لأهله امكثوا إني آنست نارا لعلي آتيكم منها بخبر. He said to his family, wait here. Behold, I perceive a fire. I see a fire. إني آنست نارا. Perhaps I may bring you from there some tiding. لعلي آتيكم منها بخبر. Maybe I can bring you some news from there. أو جذوة من النار, or a piece of burning fire. لعلكم تصطلون, so that you might warm yourselves. And then there's going to be another total twist in the story from here on. This is going to be the moment that Musa alayhi salam is going to receive revelation. So we'll stop here, but it's important that Musa alayhi salam got educated to be ready to receive revelation. But what happened so far in his life? He got his first education in the palace of his enemy, Pharaoh. Then he went through this momentary life-changing event where he killed someone. And then he went through the school of a prophet, Shu'aib alayhi salam, and he went into this family life. This made him ready to receive revelation. In our lives, we can ask the same question. For us receiving revelation, because Quran is on the shelf, but Quran being revealed to me, am I mature enough to start understanding Quran? Or let's not make it like a cutoff point in my life, but we can then maybe say that in our lives, to the extent that I have a proper perspective, proper wisdom and knowledge, I will benefit from the message. Because Prophet ﷺ started receiving message at age 40, right? And Musa alayhi salam is starting to receive it after he formed a family and whatnot. Like, he is now a mature person. Then maybe as our Creator teaches us things in life, Quran will start speaking to us very different than what we used to understand from Quran when we were at 15 or 20, because we are changing. Text is the same, but sometimes it happens. My grandfather used to say this, you say, like 10 years later, you understand, oh, now I understand what he means, because you were not mature enough to understand it when you were young. But as life teaches you something, then you start making sense of what your grandfather told you as a result of his 8 years of life. Quran is going to speak to me, but it speaks to me after reaching this maturation. Then that's another purpose to marriage. If you would like to receive guidance from Quran, what married life can teach you might become you a better student of Quran. So look for a family which is going to prepare you better for understanding Quran. Do not look for a marriage where it's going to make you more visible in society, more acceptable in society. Like these are the things, right? Because Prophet ﷺ mentioned 4 things for a marriage. What was it? Like 4 things. You can choose a girl for 4 things. One is wealth, beauty, wealth, lineage, like their family, and the 4th is their religion. And then he said, I suggest you that you pick for their religion. The other 3 are like common sense. Like he doesn't say that you can choose it for these other 3. He's talking about common sense, saying that if you choose someone, you will choose it for these. I know you guys. I know how you feel because you're human beings, right? But he says, go for the 4th one. Because sometimes I hear brothers saying this, and Prophet suggested, not commanded. Therefore, still you can choose someone because of their beauty. Like this is how this narration is being abused. Like there are other such narrations of Prophet which he says 3 things are made lovable to me. Says one is women, the other one is good smell, and the 3rd one is prayer. What does this mean? He says you're a human being, you love women, you love good smell, right? How about prayer? Like this is what it's supposed to mean, saying that as a human being, you should be loving prayer as much as you love good smell or woman. This is how it should be taken. But we are focusing on the first part of it, that last part of it. So likewise, when it comes to personality, Prophet mentioning that it should be for the religion is really reshaping our understanding of what marriage is for. And in this regard, Musa alayhi salam, eventually he's going to be the person who receives the revelation, who is going to have a huge fight, although becoming, let's say, apparently leader of a slave society of people of Israel, but he will fight against Pharaoh. What sort of a personality, what sort of a strong and trustworthy person is that? So this marriage produced such a man. Let's look at the marriage as such. He went through this school to become this exemplary personality. Okay. Any concluding remarks? You have?
Yeah, so in the previous one where it says like 8 to 10,
Mhm.
how do you know the 10 or the 8 is meant years?
Well, the word used in there is hijaj, like hajj. And actually, one like this word, thamaniya hijaj, the word hajj used in here and Median people, like it's an Arab like people. He's coming from Egypt to Median. So one of the scholars were arguing with this, saying that actually Musa alayhi salam knew about Hajj, because Hajj happens once a year. And then rather than using year, the word Hajj being used, after 8 Hajj, you can go. This is how Shu'aib alayhi salam referred to them. So he was saying that actually, you know what, Musa alayhi salam had the notion of Hajj, because a Jewish scholar, he was talking about a debate with a Jewish scholar saying that they don't know about Islam or Hajj or Abrahamic faith. So no, he did. Look here, he's referring to Hajj, which is Abrahamic way of the practice. But yeah, the word is Hajj, so 8 years. But which of the 2, 8 or 10, Quran doesn't mention with wisdom. And there's a wisdom that it's not mentioned. That means intentionally it's left vague so that for you, once you become a father and your son or daughter gets married, like according to their status, you are adjusting that, okay, they are grown up enough that they don't need my ideas any further. You should step back after a certain point. Okay. سبحانك لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم وآخر دعواهم أن الحمد لله رب العالمين. الفاتحة.